Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. Today we are going to make this slimline Valentine's card. So I've used a lot of different elements in this one. First of all, I have used the Simply Marbelous Celebration 6x6 paper, which is fabulous. I've used the greeting from the Always in My Heart collection to say Be My Valentine. And I've used the banner die from the Floral Heart dies that is part of the bundle. I've also used the Brick Mortar embossing folder and the heart punches, the scalloped and the plain edged heart punch. So let's get started on this. I'll review the measurements of the pieces in the card. The envelope size is 8 7/8 by 3 7/8. To make the slimline card base, you take a piece of basic white in this case, and you cut it 8 3/4 by 7 1/2, and then score at 3 3/4. For the Highland Heather matte, you cut it at 8 1/2 by 3 1/2. And then for the card front in basic white, it's 8 1/4 by 3 1/4. So then the 8 1/4 by 3 1/4 piece, I've actually used the Brick and Mortar embossing folder on. I wanted the bricks to go across this, so I have to use the folder in a way we're not supposed to. You're supposed to put folders through with the folded edge in so it doesn't distort the folder or break it. But because I want these to go this way, I'm just going to make sure that I'm very square when I'm putting this through and that everything lines up and my edges aren't hanging out. So, and it's also not big enough to cover the entire 8 1/2 or 8 1/4 inch length. So I'm going to have to reposition this. So when I reposition it, I've opened it like this, and you can see I've got a hard line where my embossing folder ends. So I'm going to line this up at the top, and what I'm doing is I'm lining that hard edge up with the edge of the bricks on this one. I'm just going to close it up like that. I'm going to feed it back through my machine, again making sure everything is square and lined up so that I don't damage my folder. And then I'll just run it through. And it'll bang again because it's that hard edge going through. There we go. Okay, so what I've got now is the embossing done, and you can't tell where it was. I know that it was right here, but when you just look at it, you can't see that. So I'm just going to pop everything off to the side here so that we can continue working. I'll leave the sizes at the top. Now, because this is a 3D embossing folder and the edges are kind of rippled, I'm going to put Stampin' Seal all the way around the edges just to hold it down. So you just run it all the way down the edges. And this Stampin' Seal refill, I find I need to go just that little bit slower with it so that the adhesive comes down properly. So let's just get this adhered, and then we can start building our hearts. So I'm just going to line this up and drop it down. There we go. And right now I can adhere this to the front of the card as well. So we'll do that. And this doesn't need to have adhesive all around the edges. I'm just going to do some passes on it. And again, we line it up and we drop it down. So that's our card essentially constructed. What I need to do now is I need to attach my hearts. I played with how do I do this, as far as do I do the marbled side and then the more kind of blended side, or do I do it the other way around? And I really liked the marble paper up. I think it really has a strong effect. So that's why I decided to do it that way. Again, totally your call. You can have it whichever way you like. You can have these all be the same color and have your matte color match. It's, again, completely up to you. It's your card, it's your design. These videos are just ideas, and you can case it completely the same, or you can use it as a jumping off point for your own ideas. And I'm really happy when you send in comments saying, oh, hey, I really like this and I use this instead. It's like, wow, yes. And that inspires me to maybe think of using a designer series paper or a stamp set or an embellishment differently than I would have thought of before. So I appreciate all of your feedback, and I do respond to every comment. I really value the people who take the time to let me know what they like, what they'd like to see, what they need more of in the videos. So we've got all of our hearts done, and I want to have the Highland Heather one in the middle. So if we do this exactly the same way we did the other one, or I did the sample, all I did is I kind of placed these like this, and I started at the top and moved to the bottom. And that way you can kind of see where you need to space them. So that looks like good spacing. And then you need adhesive dots. And what I did is I didn't put an adhesive dot here because it's going to be on the Flirty Flamingo one underneath. So I've just got 2 dimensionals there. Sorry, adhesive dots. They're dimensionals. And now on this one, I'm going to put a dimensional under this corner and under this part of the heart. So I'm just going to build that up. And I'm going to keep working this way till I get to the top one. And then I just slide that underneath like that. And then I do the same here, except here and here. So I put a dimensional at the bottom and then in the top corner. And then just slide it underneath, place it where I'd like it to be. And then on this one, I need the outside here and this one. And then on the top one, I actually put 3 dimensionals underneath it. This one is going to sit like that. And this one, because there's nothing coming under any of the edges, I'm actually going to put 3 on, as I said. So I quite often have a hard time with this paper deciding which side of the paper I want to use because it is so beautiful. So that is the card essentially built. I've gone ahead and stamped the Be My Valentine from the Always in My Heart set onto a piece of basic white, and then I used the die to cut it out. And with this banner die, there's score lines on it, so you just fold it on the score lines so it actually makes the banner look like it's flying. And I've heard different ways to use this, and I've done that upside down. There we go. So there's the banner. And people have handled the banner differently. So if you just put adhesive under the edges, it kind of doesn't lay flat. So you can do it like that, or you can put dimensionals underneath the, under the middle, and then these pieces move independently. So that's what I've done with this. The edges still move independently. They can squish down in an envelope if they need to. And I just peel these off and then adhere it down. So I want it to go across here like this. And I know that I'm going to be overlapping the edges. So then I just stick that dimensional down, and it's actually on top of the Highland Heather heart there, so it gives it that little bit extra oomph. Or you can put it on so that it's right under the edge, but you've got enough room to tuck those edges in. So that is our Be My Valentine card. It's a slimline card using the Always in My Heart stamp set and the dies, and the Brick and Mortar embossing folder. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope I've inspired you to make your own card. Let's create together again soon.